is an emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived.
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm, as always, Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hey Alex, hey guys. Uh, today, the day we're recording, is International Women's Day. So, shout out to all the lovely women, um, in the world and in Stardom, and we obviously we love women here. That I feel like any way that I go from here, it's gonna sound weird,
You
so
had
I'm
to
just gonna
say
leave it
that
at that.
just as I took a sip. you...
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how to go with that,
It was
cause
the
like I mean,
pause
like
after.
we
Had you
we
just kept
appreciate
going,
we appreciate women.
right?
Uh,
We respect
we
women.
respect women.
Respect
And
women.
yeah, I mean, we're obviously a women's wrestling podcast, so shout out to them one time
Yeah.
and
But
many times,
really,
not just one
like,
time.
the real question is, when is International Men's Day? Not for
Don't
me. I don't care. I'm not.
I know I was gonna say I don't think that applies to you, but
No,
um,
I have about
I
10
don't know.
days. I get
Ev-
10 different
Every
days.
every single year somebody brings that up, and I'm just like, when is that? And I look it up. I'm just like, oh, and I
Mhm.
just never think about it ever
Yeah.
again because I'm not weird.
Okay.
Like,
That's fair. All right. Yeah, so this show is brought to you by the Five Star Podcast Network. The Five Star Podcast Network is home to obviously us of Stardom Quest. No longer home of All Elite Cast. That is on hiatus for now. So if you want to host an AEW podcast, now's your chance. You can take over the All Elite Cast. Just contact Scott or the Five Star Twitter. I'm sure you'll get sent in the right direction. But we do have the Dramatic Dream Dragons show, which is a Dragon Gate and DDT show with the coolest name in the podcast business. We also have Watch Tej, which is the more I learn about how Watch Tej came together, the more I am amazed at how well planned out that show was. So give that a listen for TJPW Talk. And we also have Puro Gems, which is a monthly podcast about the indie scene in Japan, both men's and women's. That's hosted by Peps Wrestling. The debut episode of that dropped, I think, last week with Scott as the co-host. So lots of different stuff for from the podcast network. And
there's
yeah, that's the
also
plug. Did I
There's
forget?
also a no, you didn't forget anything, but
Oh.
a little teaser. Scott, and Xavier are cooking something up, a little audio
Ooh.
show.
Ooh.
Uh, I don't know how soon we'll be able to get to it, and we kind of were only planning on doing it for like a few episodes, like just for it's like a little special. But
Right.
hopefully I'm not just talking on my ass, and that actually does become a thing.
I am friends with all three of you, and not one of you has leaked this to me. I don't know what this project
I
is.
no, I
And yet,
I just talked to Xavier about it yesterday,
right,
and I
okay.
was like, that sounds so fun. I am so down. So
Right. I'm
we'll see.
intrigued. I'm intrigued, yeah, because yeah, I'm friends with all three of you, but none of you have said anything about this, so I'm in the dark. But yeah, that is the plug. On to Stardom, because you are listening to Stardom Quest. A lot of news from Stardom. They had 4 press conferences yesterday, and then today
There
decided
was
to drop.
4?
Yes. Well, I
That's
think it was
crazy.
like four, but it was like two of them were one show split in half, and one of them was only for like one match. I have no idea. There was a lot. But today they dropped a video from KAIRI, and KAIRI announced that she will be participating in the Yokohama Arena show, which I mean we kind of all assumed. But more importantly, she said that she's going to bring a special person who might cause a stir in the future. And that person will be at the Yokohama Arena show. And KAIRI is going to unveil that person at Korkauen Hall on April 2nd. So,
Did she say she was from the West, or did she just say a
no,
special person?
doesn't seem like there was any details given on that. Natsupoi also walked in at the end. So, I don't know if that's hinting at something or if they're setting up like a tag match for this person maybe when they come out when they show up. But Natsupoi was there. So maybe KAIRI and Natsupoi are going to team together at the Yokohama Arena show. Maybe they're going to wrestle, which would be even cooler. Um,
Mhm.
but all eyes are on who this mystery person is, and we're not going to know for a month, which isn't great. Um, for some reason, I can't shake the idea that it's Sareee, and I don't really know
Uh,
why. But to me, like it might be like she's gone completely dark, right? Like she hasn't posted anything for 3 months now. She hasn't wrestled on any WWE programming since like October or so.
she's not in the game.
She's not in the game. Like there's a chance that she was quietly let go, and this is her because she does have that tie with Natsupoi. So Natsupoi being in the video would kind of make sense then, because Natsumi, Maki, and Sareee were always kind of tied together. Um,
Oh, you're not the
so
only person who thinks this.
yeah, well, I think I was the first person to like spread that,
Well,
and
well, I'm
everybody
not.
else went,
No,
"You,
because
you, you
I'm
kind of
looking
make
up. I
sense."
looked up Sareee because I was like, what has she been doing? And somebody said, oh, what if this is Sareee? And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
So this is like a thing that might be. Oh my god,
and
there was
it
a dick
like
there.
I
Why was
think,
there a dick there?
oh dear, you can't look anything up on Twitter anymore without seeing
No, you
some
can't.
sort of like X-rated content. It is insane. Um, but yeah, Sareee, I really can't shake the feeling that it's her. Velke was doing the maths, and he was like, if she signed a 3-year deal, I'm pretty sure she announced that she had signed in February of 2019. So you add on about 12 months for the pandemic delay. You add on about 6 weeks because she was injured for about 6 weeks, and that takes you to around March or April of 2023 if she did sign a 3-year deal. So
Mm.
like, there's a chance it's her. I'm not saying it is, but that's the feeling that I've had. The other one is that it could just be Mercedes money because they haven't officially announced her for that show. Like we obviously know she's on the show because Davis has said she's on the show, but they haven't announced it. So maybe that's when they announce that she's going to be on the show, so they can start selling tickets for like, hey, Mercedes Money is going to be here. And maybe she'll do like a video promo because she can't be at the show as far as I know. She got WrestleCon commitments, but she might do a video promo or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the idea is Kyrie's going to have a tag with this person at Yokohama,
Mm.
unless, well, I don't know.
It wasn't really outright said. It was just that somebody is going to be here. That's
Well,
going to
okay,
cause a
but she's
stir.
she's announcing this. She's announcing the person at Korkauen.
Yeah.
So I don't think that she would announce somebody standing in the ring. You know, like announce a segment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I imagine that it's going to be a tag with Kyrie and someone, or a singles with Kyrie and someone.
Yeah.
So that's
And
why I'm not
Natsupoi
thinking
was
it's
also in the
Mercedes.
video. So
Yeah, so I imagine it's a tag with Kyrie and someone versus Natsupoi, and
someone.
Natsupoi doesn't have no more friends left, buddy.
Yeah. So
That's crazy. That's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I mean, Sareee isn't a bad guess, all things considered. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it could be Mercedes money either. Like I don't really know. Sonny on the Meltzer boards. Oh my god, I burped. Sonny on the Meltzer boards has said specifically, as well. I mean, I was told this. I haven't seen it. That it is not somebody from AEW. There will be no AEW involvement with Stardom. That thing seems dead as a dodo. So uh, it's not somebody from AEW.
To be fair, Sonny fucking hates AEW.
That's true. That's
And he
true.
has like since it started because everybody would always ask him like, "Hey, I mean, this new company seems really promising." He's like, "No, no." And that's always been his response. So I'm not.
Very true.
That's one thing that I'll take a grain of salt with, but not for the Yokohama show. I imagine that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and KAIRI being the one to introduce it. So
Yeah.
um, we don't really know there. But that's what's happened today. That's got everybody talking. If that is Sareee, great to have her back. Big get for Stardom because by all accounts she wanted to go to Stardom for like forever, but just wasn't able to make it work. She was obviously ready to wrestle Mayu that one time before she went to the WWE, but that couldn't
That was
happen.
great.
Um,
They named the show after her.
yes, they did. Yeah.
Weights of the Major League.
And then, well, I mean, we got the classic, the instant classic instead with Mayu and Takumi. So
Right. That was
we didn't miss
that
out
was
too
great.
bad. But yeah, that's
Was the first one or second one better with Takumi and Mayu. I feel like I remember liking the second
The
one better.
second one was better because
Yeah,
the first one was basically like Takumi just mauling her, as far as I
yeah.
remember. Like she just completely mauled Mayu one sided, and the second one was a bit more equal. Um, but yeah, that's the KAIRI thing. I I hate that they've announced it a month in advance. Like I want to know now. I don't know if I can wait for April 2nd to find out who it is. But I have no choice, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like that's the thing is that I feel like March and April is like phased together because
Mm.
everything is like it's
Although,
all now, like it's all out there.
yeah,
But it's a matter of like, oh, is that in 3 days or is that in a month and 3 days?
yes. Honestly. The good thing is we might know who it is before because somebody was saying this, but Dave Meltzer seemed very interested in this, so he might get a report on who it is from I don't know Fumi or something. So like Dave might be able to report on who it is beforehand, or if there's a report that Sareee has left WWE, then I think that will make it a lot more clear. But for
Yeah.
now, we can only speculate, and yeah, the two obvious ones seem to be Sareee or Mercedes Money. Um, while on the topic of KAIRI, though, um,
Damn.
the deck has been stacked against Waka. So the X for New Blood Premium was also KAIRI. So it is Nanai Takahashi and KAIRI against Waka and Tam Nakano. On the deadline of the day that Waka has to get her first win, she has to leave Cosmic Angels.
Waka better there's like how many shows before that? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 shows before that. She needs to figure out a way to win on one of those because she
Well,
ain't winning that one.
she's not on any of those shows. She said
Oh,
during her promo, she said, "I'm taking a break until this match, and I'm gonna win.
oh my
And
God.
if I don't win,
We're
then I'm
losing
leaving
Waka.
Stardom." I think yeah,
We're losing Waka.
there's a good chance she's gone
We're just actually losing Waka.
because she's not in the Cinderella tournament, and
This is true.
Unagi not being in Tag League was a big tip that something was wrong with her and Stardom. And I assume Waka not being in Cinderella is another tip there that maybe she isn't going to be around. Um, so I think there's a big chance that Waka doesn't win this match and is finished up. The only thing is that obviously, like wrestling logic dictates that you give people the payoff. You know what I mean? Like it would be really weird to never pay off the Waka thing and just have her leave. Like KAIRI would literally be the biggest heel in Stardom.
And they don't like have like a rumble where she can make her miraculous return and it's a
Yeah,
big deal even though she never won a match. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's if she leaves, Stardom's very final with shit
hmm
like that.
Like her leaving is weird because Cosmic Angels would basically be two permanent people, given that Club Venus is almost kind of its own separate thing sometimes. Um, and you'd also um, where was I? What was I gonna? It's gone. It's gone, Dylan.
Something about to pay off.
Yeah. No, it's gone. It's completely gone.
God, okay.
Because Cosmic Angels would have two people in it, so no Waka would be
Yes.
kind of weird. Um,
I mean, it'd be kind of impossible unless they get colors full time, which they aren't going to.
yeah. And the thing is, like, where would Waka go in the current scene as well? Like, unless she retired.
Honestly, funnily enough, like part of me was thinking, oh, she'll just go to colors, but colors isn't really a thing
Mm,
in and of themselves anymore. They just kind of tag places,
yeah,
you know. Because at first they were running a few produced shows, but they aren't like Prominence where they're like, okay, every month we're going to try to get a produced show out.
yeah.
They just do it
They've only
whenever
had
they kind of
5,
want to.
I think.
Yeah, in the past year and a half.
Mm,
So yeah, for 18 months they've had you know 5 shows. So that's not really realistic. I don't know what Waka does.
yeah, like,
And it's a shame because like she's the most popular woman in the company.
yeah, having her go would be so strange.
And think, oh my,
Unless
like
she's
they're
retired,
gonna
like, unless it's
lose.
her decision and she's finishing up, but, I mean, would you not also
But
wanna
in that
finish up
case, I
on
feel
the
like
payoff?
yeah, I also
Yeah.
feel like she would like retire.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave Leo and Ozaki a retirement match. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
like, not literally, it wasn't like a ceremony or anything, but just, like, be like, "Oh, if not, I am retiring, not if not, I am leaving Stardom."
Yeah, that's true.
It's very different verbiage. But I will say if she does leave, her and Hameka to like when crowds first came back, it was like Waka, Lady C, Hameka, and Julia
Mm.
and Micah because they were team like the most popular people, bar none, and they're losing like half of them.
Yeah, no, that would be crazy. Yeah, no, like losing Waka is a big blow to that undercard because she is like really popular. Um, and obviously, I don't know if she would stay popular once she gets the first win or if people would kind of move on. But yeah, it would certainly just be strange to not pay it off. That's just kind of my thing. But then I don't really know how she beats Nanai or Kairi. And I know Tam could probably pin Nanai, but I feel like Tam getting the
I don't
win
think
for
that.
her team and saving Waka is a bit meh as far as a finale goes. Like
I think Tam fucked her.
probably.
If we know how I know I think this is on your private, so sorry for exposing you. How like we always kind of have this thing about like Tam not really being that good of a person at all. Like I feel like Tam was like trying to like be the White Knight, which is actually her tag team with Kyrie. There's synchronicity here, that's crazy. She's trying to be the White Knight, and then she somehow made it infinitely harder for
Mm,
Waka to win.
honestly, Tam worst leader in wrestling.
Especially if Kyrie pins Waka, which is a very likely result. Like, that has to fall
Do,
on Tam at least
do
somewhat.
do they understand how much people would actively hate Kyrie if she did that? Like,
Well, I
I
mean,
don't know,
Kyrie
man.
and Nanai is evil Kyrie.
That's true. But I don't know. I feel like people would like
Like,
legitimately dislike Kyrie if that were to happen.
it also depends on who her mysterious person is. What if she brings in like alpha female again
Oh dear God.
and
Please,
has her be her heater?
please, don't. I don't know. Um, I don't know. They've really painted themselves into a corner with that angle. Like and like either Waka pins somebody that she shouldn't, or she's gone and you don't get the payoff, or Tam pins somebody for her and you also don't get the payoff. Like they've put themselves in a really weird spot as far as that goes. Um, but that is a big selling point, I guess, for New Blood Premium. You're gonna have to buy the pay per view to find out the future of Waka, and I mean, I think we'll all be on the edge of our seats because it's genuinely unpredictable.
And it genuinely has like a lot of stakes.
Yes. Oh yeah, huge
That's
stakes.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. I'll give them that.
Yeah. Remember when I was like, "Oh, Tam might put her career on the line," but no, she put Walker's career on the line. So, um,
Yeah, it's funny how we're saying there's two members of Cosmic Angels and we haven't even addressed the fact that like Tam, I don't know if she's making it out of the year.
yeah, she did say some stuff that had me my ears pricked up a little bit, but yeah, that's we'll get onto that later. Not to worry. We should look at the rest of the card for the New Blood Premium because they have announced it, and they've also announced the new
Yes.
names for all of the rookies. So the opener of the New Blood Premium show is Hanan and Hina versus Saida and Momokogo versus Roka and Rina. So
Mm.
yeah, cool, I guess. Um,
You know what's wild is I don't think they've done like a can they coexist with the all three sisters yet
yeah.
in like 3 years. Like since Rena went evil
Oh
evil.
yes. Well, it did Water and Oil briefly.
Yeah, but I mean like they haven't done a trios match.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, not together, I suppose. Yeah, but why would you do that when they? I mean, Hina like has spent a lot of time not around, so that kind of limits them.
Yeah,
Um, but
that's true.
yeah, that's our opener. Now we have a rookie debut match. We have Komomo Minami, which I think is just her real name. Like she didn't change that
Yes.
at all.
Somehow the only name that I was like, "Oh, I think that should change." They didn't change
Yeah,
whatsoever.
no, she's ruined it because now there's two Komomos. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But it's Komomo Minami against Hazuki. So Hazuki's gonna put her through her paces. Um, and yeah, that's the small high speedy one. So Hazuki might like recruit her afterwards or something. I have no idea.
That is really funny to think about that. It's like, "Oh, you like high speed? Let's get the most aggressive high speed champion that has ever existed."
Yeah. I do like Minami's style though. They have pictures here of the press conference. It's real. It's giving. It's giving like cottagecore. I like it.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. The next match then is Sakura Aya, the former Sakura Ishiguro,
Ishiguro.
against Julia. Sakura, that is giving like 1800s. You look like you should be churning butter. What the fuck is that dress?
So many they randomly do that shit with these press conferences. Like the one of the girls will just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm actually out of the 1700s for
Yeah,
real."
like she literally looks like she has just come back from churning butter with that dress. Like, what is this? Oh my God. Um, I was wondering, is Aya her actual name or is that a mistranslation? Because I know one of Takumi's names always translates to Aya. So is it Sakura Taku? No, that wouldn't be it, would it?
I would much Takumi Sakura would be
Yeah,
cooler
because
than Aya. I'm not a big fan of Aya.
yeah,
I think that
like I'm
it
wondering if
doesn't
that's a
fit.
translation thing because generally Aya is a machine translation for Takumi that you get a lot of the time. But
Well,
then
oh wait, no. It's it looks like that's just yeah, because I think it's just
yeah,
hiragana, so I
oh,
think it would just be Aya.
that's a really big letdown of a name.
Yeah.
This
I like I said, I think Ishiguro
yes,
Sakura is like a cool
yeah.
name.
At least they kept the Sakura. I do like Sakura.
I mean, the Sakura is like a good
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a really poor choice. She's about to get herself out of the running for my favorite if she keeps this up. Like bad dress, bad name. You'd want to be hitting some Yuzupon kicks, or you're getting lapped by Komomo Minami. That's all I have to say about that.
That's crazy. You're disrespecting Hanako. I'm gonna yell every time.
Well, listen, I've assumed that Hanako is yours, and I'm just gonna leave that be. Um,
That's valid.
so the Hanako debut match, Hanako was formerly Hanako Ueda, also
Yep.
known as Risa Fella. She is teaming with
Which is also a cool name.
yes, it
Like
is
Ueda's
yes.
like yeah.
So she is now Hanako, all caps, and she's teaming with Lady C to take on Maika and Himeka. So they've put all the tall women in one match with
Oh,
Maika.
also Micah is already scouting for her next big girl teammate.
Yeah, I feel like
'Cause she was like, "Oh, Hanako, you're pretty cool." And Lacey's like, "What the fuck? What do you mean she's pretty cool?
mm,
I'm cool too." And she's like, "Yeah, but Hanako."
yeah.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
I mean, Hanako would fit the one name thing DDM had going. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like Hanako might go to DDM now. Um, Then we have, I think all the rest of the matches have already been announced. It's Miyu Amasaki versus Shuri in the fifth Supernova match. Or no, it's the third Supernova match of the five Supernova series. They make it so in because it's Supernova fifth match round three, but you can't have round three being different matches. Like I don't get it. So I assume this is the third Supernova match out of the five.
It is.
Okay,
'Cause it was what? It was Tam and it was
Tami,
someone
is it
else.
her debut?
Yeah,
No,
Tam. Oh yeah, Utami, Tam,
Shuri.
and now this. I'm
Crazy.
sure. Yeah.
They unveiled the New Blood tag belts, which I think look fantastic. I like everybody always hates new belt designs, but I think these are really nice.
This is true.
Like I think they look
I
nice.
I think they're a bit like I feel like, and I was talking with large screen like for a long time because I'm a belt guy. I do agree that everybody hates new belts just because they're new belts. I personally think that almost like they pop too much. Like I think the like lettering pops a bit too much for my liking, but I still think they're pretty cool belts.
They are. Yeah. I like the colors, honestly. I gotta say that. It's nice to have colors on a belt that isn't just like
Yes.
gold and silver. You know, it's they actually went and made it colorful. Um,
I think the sole thing is just that I wish they did more than just the logo.
yeah,
Which they did a little
I
bit,
guess.
like, with the colors in the
Mm,
background, but just, like, I don't know, like, I love and, I mentioned this, and he was like, Asuka from WWE designed that belt." But, like, I like the high speed belt design
mm,
because it looks very, like, unique, but it isn't like, "Oh, I'm fast, motherfucker." It's just like, just, like, feels, like, symbolic almost,
yeah.
more so than just, like, "This is what it is." And I have the same issue with like the DDT belt. Uh, on the other scale side of the you know out there poppy uh belt design, where DDT it's just a gold plate that's boring
Yeah.
and the DDT logo in the middle. I fucking hate that belt. You know what I mean? And this is kind of the other side where it's like super vibrant, super bright, but it still has that big ass logo and nothing really else that can define it. And I was like, damn. But that's my
Okay.
belt talk for the
All
day.
right. So the two matches for those belts are semifinal one. We have Mai Sakurai and Chanyota versus Starlight Kid and Karma, and on the other side we have Mirai and Tomoka Inaba versus Ami Sourei and Nanami. Um, so that's the card for New Blood Premium.
I can't believe Elvis. For wait, what?
Elvis?
I just read Elvis on Twitter. I just read Elvis on Twitter. My bad. I can't believe karma is still a thing.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend that didn't
Okay.
happen.
But yeah, they've really put a lot of faith in that Waka match to draw here because oh boy, they need it. Like
Yeah, I'm pirating this
without
shit.
that is anybody buying this pay per view?
Somebody better, because I need to take it.
That is fair. Um, Stardom has also announced that on the April 14th Cork and Hall show, Azumi will defend the High Speed Championship against Saki Kashima. They have a few Cork and shows coming up, huh? Um,
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
they've won in 2 days' time. They've the April 2nd and now April 14th. Stardom has also announced the rest of the cards for shows throughout this month. No, we kind of went over some of the big matches last time because they announced like the top two on every match. Just looking through for some interesting stuff here. Um, Yuna Mizumori is working every show still, and she's now representing 7 Up. So she used to be labeled as a freelancer, but now she's representing 7 Up, so that's an interesting change. Chairman Ram is working one of the house shows in Messe, and Rebel
Oh
Enemy
wow.
do still have a presence on some of these shows, so seems like they're sticking around to some degree. Uh,
Yeah, I mean Ram's on a lot of these shows
yeah.
actually.
Wait, really? Well, I know she's
Wait,
on the
is this
Corkin
Messe?
and Messe. Yeah,
Is Messe Hachi
yeah,
Ijo or Hachi
Hachioji. Yeah, yeah,
Oji? Hachi Oji,
indeed.
yeah. Okay,
So,
it didn't
all right,
translate.
yeah, I know she's on two. So she's on two of the shows coming up anyway. Um,
At least, yeah.
They've booked Mirai versus Miyu Amasaki on the 12th in Gifu, in Toki, and they have um, Saki Kashima and Koguma are wrestling on the 15th.
That's actually
Also
something.
on the 15th is Mayu Iwatani and Hazuki versus Meltier, just because. And this is why I think Waka leaving Cosmic Angels would be really bad because you have to book Meltier, and you also kind of have to book Mariah and Mina, which is kind of how a lot of these house shows are going. Like you're really short
Yeah.
on options there, given that Club Venus is trying to be its own separate thing while also still being with Cosmic Angels. So we're gonna look here into how that might end up, and it's not ideal. Um,
Ruaka main event? That's crazy.
yeah, it's kind of
We'll
out
talk
there.
about it later.
Um, they've also booked Miyu Amasaki against Saki Kashima. That's on the 16th, so they're doing a lot of Kevin singles matches, presumably to kind of get her reps up, because gotta keep her in the ring. Um, as we said last time, there's the Passion Injection match in Kyoto on the 19th. That also has one of the Himeka retirement matches. There is a best high speed four-way battle on that show on the 19th. It's Azumi, Starlight Kid, Koguma, and Saki Kashima in a match just to showcase high speed wrestling.
They're giving away too much.
There. There's also Saida versus Unimon on that show. So that show on the 19th is really loaded. Like you have
It's looking
Passion
interesting, yeah.
Injection, you have Julia and Himeka versus Meltier, you have a high speed four way, and you have Unimon versus Ida, which is pretty cool. Um, and then on the last show that they've announced, which is on the 21st, they have Tam Nakano versus Unimis and Mori, and Sai Ida versus Starlight Kid. So a lot of interesting matches kind of sprinkled in over the next month or so.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as- amongst like obligatory house
Yes.
shows, there's some good stuff, obviously, and with the Jamaica Retirement
Oh
Roadhouse,
yeah,
there's a lot of good stuff as
that's
well.
true. Um, Now, one thing we didn't get to is that Hazuki is trying to insert herself into the Azumi versus Mercedes money match.
It's so funny.
Um, I don't use this term lightly because terms like this are very serious, but she attempted to gaslight Azumi.
Oh,
Like, Azumi
100%.
was like, the match has already been made. Mercedes money accepted my challenge, and Hazuki was like, no, she didn't. I don't remember that.
She's like, "Did she though?
Yeah, she was like, no,
Did
that
she
didn't
though?"
actually happen. Like, that is the
And she was
definition.
like, "Oh, I heard that I was excited. I thought that she
Yeah,
did. She did."
she did.
On TMZ,
Yeah.
she's like, "Yeah, this AZM girl's trying to
Mhm.
challenge me, and I'm gonna go fight her in April."
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, she literally was just, like, gaslighting her. She's like, "No, that didn't happen. Like, you made it up. I don't like, she didn't
I
accept it."
know, Azumi looked so,
She did.
just raw,
Yeah,
like, she's, like,
she did.
like, so disappointed and dejected. She's like, "Damn, well, I gotta share
Yeah.
damn, man."
So, Hazuki has, said, "Hey, let's make it a three-way match." So I assume that's what they're gonna do because they wouldn't bring it up if they weren't gonna do it. Um And honestly, that could be so great. Like, I was excited for Azumi
Yes.
versus Mercedes money, but you add Hazuki in there, in the form that Hazuki is in, that is gonna be
I
so
will say
crazy.
that the one thing is it will take, some attention away from Mercedes, just because of
But
the
she's gonna
nature of a
get,
three-way.
like, shown up. Like like,
Yeah.
I'm very into Mercedes money, but Hazuki and Azumi are like,
Azumi is like the god of three-way
yeah,
matches,
like,
man. Like, she's, like, the greatest.
you just can't compete. Like, so that's
And they've been having good high-speed three-way matches since Azumi was literally
mhm,
15 years old. That's the thing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
yeah,
that's gonna be hard for Mercedes to, like, really put a stamp on,
yeah,
you know? Because like, against Azumi, like, you can shine against Azumi and take the
mhm.
spotlight, because 'cause she'll just make you look good. But against Azumi and against Suzuki at the same time, I do you remember a single spot that Death has ever done in any of those
Oh god,
matches?
no.
Outside of winning them
No.
somehow? You know what I mean? Like, that's just that's a Death spot. It's gonna be a good match, though. I think she's gonna contribute to it,
Oh yeah,
honestly. It's
yeah.
gonna be a
I
really good match,
mean,
but
her creativity is like Mercedes' creativity thrown into the mix with what Azumi and Hazuki do is going to be great to see. And honestly, as far as the New Japan matches go, like in America, you can give time to Mercedes and her defenses. On Stardom shows, you can give her time. New Japan, I'm still not sure they're going to get a lot of time. But if there's two people who are going to make the most of say 10 minutes, it's Hazuki and Azumi, right? Like
yeah.
they're the queens of making the most of their minutes. So like that three-way is almost the perfect match to book on a big New Japan show, especially because like I think you're gonna get a lot more attention from that style of wrestling than what Kyrie and Tam
Yeah.
did, right? Like Kyrie and Tam made very little impression on people aside from like the Violet Screwdriver, whereas this is gonna
Yeah,
have
pretty
people
much.
really into it, I think. So if they like, I'm assuming they will, and if they do book Azumi, Hazuki, and Money as the IWGP Women's match at Sakura Genesis, then I could see that really getting a lot of attention for Hazuki and Azumi from kind of newer fans.
Yeah. It's so like I said earlier, I feel like I'm so, like, mixed up with, uh, March and April, um,
Mm.
because, like, the New Japan Cup ends in, like, 2 weeks. 'Cause I was just like, "Damn, Sakura Genesis is not that far away, is it?" And I'm just like, "Oh, shit, they did," like, I'm just all over the place with time. So, yeah, that's wild, but because I was thinking like, "Oh, well, they have a singles match before then, so why wouldn't they just do," but they have to decide the card for Sakura Genesis on the 22nd
Yeah,
of March. So, like, yeah, I think it'll just be a three-way.
yeah. I mean, it would make sense. Like, I don't know why you'd bring it up if you don't do it. And
Unless was Suzuki in that high-speed four-way or no, she wasn't.
no, it was
It was Kid,
Koguma, Kid, Kashima,
Koka, and
Azumi.
Taki.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um Yeah,
I
I think
really,
yeah, I think it's just
I
gonna be
really
three-way.
said Koguma Kid Kashima. It's all the
Yeah,
surnames.
Koguma
Koguma
Kikashima.
Kid Kashima, yeah. 3Ks. Not the bad 3Ks. Oh dear. Oh god. Okay,
uh,
anyway.
like King Kofi Kingston.
Yes, King Kofi Kingston.
That's why he never became King of the
Oh,
Ring. That's
really?
true. It's because he was like, I don't think you guys understand
Oh god.
what my name would be at
That's
that
so
point.
bad. Oh my god. That's crazy.
He said that in like the first episode of this podcast. It
That's
was great.
amazing. But anyway, I think that is all of the news from the world of Stardom. They announced a lot of stuff over the past like 48 hours. It was a lot. Um, but now we're on to the review section, and we have quite the
Mm.
show to review. So this is the
Yeah.
pay-per-view on March 4th. This is the Triangle Derby finals. This is in the Yoyogi National Stadium second gymnasium. This did 1,919 fans, which I believe is a fantastic attendance. That is one of the highest attendances that building has ever had for wrestling. Um, like it's second only to Jun Kasai versus El Desperado, which is like
Oh, that was the same arena? I
yeah,
didn't even know
which
that.
is
That's
like a
crazy.
pretty big match to do. I mean, Jun Kasai is like a deathmatch
Oh, that was a
legend, very well
yeah.
known in Japan. El Desperado is obviously one of the leading junior heavyweights in the biggest company in Japan.
Takatachi Mania used to
Yeah.
draw a lot. Like it was a big
So
deal.
to finish second
I missed it.
only to that is pretty impressive because they did way more
Yeah.
than the last Takataichi one did. Was it Shingo and Taichi? So like
Yeah, the last
yeah.
one. I think it was in
So like
Corkin
are
though.
you sure?
Was it? I don't know.
I thought they were doing them all at this.
I have
No,
so
I'm pretty
many.
sure it was Yoyogi because I remember watching Suzu and Inaba and it was that venue.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it
So
was, you're right.
they basically they
I was thinking of
outdrew
something else.
Taichi versus Shingo Takagi, which is a relatively big match.
Not only that, that was the last
Oh
Takataichi
yeah,
Mania.
that's true. Yeah.
Like that was like the
Yeah.
final. It was a double anniversary
So
show.
like as far as attendances go, that's pretty great. You're second only to a Crazy Dream match. You're 800 up from the last time they were on this venue, which was in late 2021. So it's kind of a distant comparison, but they only did like 11 or 1200 when they were on here last time. So to be near 2000 is pretty great for Stardom.
Yeah, 100%.
Now we had two pre-show matches. I didn't,
I did not watch.
we don't. There's no point. But I think Rena won the first one with a jackknife pin, because that's one of her big moves, and she pinned Kevin. So that didn't go how we thought it would, but maybe it was a
No.
precursor for what will happen this weekend.
Maybe Miyu gets
Mm,
the turnaround because she is getting a lot of big
I don't
matches.
think so. I feel like you don't belt her up as the future champ until her supernova thing is over. Because why else do the
Yeah, but
supernova thing?
well, I was thinking she loses. I was thinking she
Oh.
loses. I think Ami holds on to that for a while.
Hmm. Well, who else beats Ami if not Miyu Amasaki? Well, I guess Rina.
Miyu or Rina are the two options.
Mm. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Um.
Yeah.
So that was the first pre-show match. The other pre-show match was Utami Hayashishita and Lady C beating Maika Ozaki and Chairman Ram. So who'd ever thought we'd see Utami on the pre-show of a pay-per-view? That's just crazy. Um. The actual opening match to the card then was Maisa.
Oh wait. There is one thing. Was that after that Micah and Utami like had a little stare
Ooh,
down, and then on Twitter, Mike Ozaki was like, "Oh, I want to do singles," and Utami's like, "I also want to do singles. You're pretty cool." Micah's like, "You're pretty
pretty
cool too."
badass.
So yeah, they have a
All
link
right.
now.
So then we had the actual opener to the show, which was Mai Sakurai, Tekla, and Maika beating Mariah May, Waka Tsukiyama, and Mina Shirakawa. Mai Sakurai got the win over Waka in 10.5 minutes with her rolling leg drop from the top rope. Um,
The flipping
yeah, I
guillotine.
thought this was a pretty good opener. You can always tell how well these pay-per-views are going to do based on the opener, because this just had so much energy and it was really well done. Like you had Tekla and Mariah May continuing their little thing. You had a brief but really good interaction between Mina and Micah, and you closed it out with Mai and Waka going at it again, and they kind of have always built up that chemistry, even if they've kind of forgotten the feud that used to exist between the two of them, but they're still good enough together. But yeah, I thought all the main pairings in this worked really well, and it was just very enjoyable.
Yeah, that was fine. I One thing that I'm noticing with Mina is it's like the inverse of what Julia used to do for me. Because like back in the day, I would watch Julia and back in the day, I mean like a year and a half ago. I would watch Julia, maybe just a year ago. Damn, time flies. But I would watch Julia and I'd be like, damn, she's really improving a lot. She's really fun to watch. And then she would have a big match and I'd tell everybody like, hey, Julia's really like stepping up her game. And then the match would be like just dog water. And I'd be like, how the one time that I tell people that it's gonna be good, it's not. I feel like it's the inverse for me and Mina, because everybody's telling me that she's having these incredible performances, but somehow they are in like the like 20%, 25% of Stardom matches I don't watch. And this is all I've seen from Mina is like one interaction with a good wrestler that looks clean and then tags out. And I'm just like, how does this keep happening?
Yeah, she's really been limited since coming back. Like, I feel like we
Yeah.
haven't seen a lot of her, and maybe that's because she's gonna win the white belt, and they want that to be her big launch point. Um, but definitely, like, she's been hidden away in these tags, and like you have to pay attention to know how she's doing. Like, you have to really focus in on on her stuff. But I feel like every time I remember her getting in, it's been really good. You know, like her and Micah did well here. I thought her and Mayukiki did really well in the Derby match that I remember as well.
But that's the thing is that's like that was like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Like it was a good 30 seconds, but it was like
but
30
that's all we can judge
seconds.
her on. I don't know.
It's a blink and you
Yeah.
miss it type of
I
thing
mean,
with
I'm
her.
not saying Mina's like amazing, but the stuff she's doing is good in the matches. So I don't know. What else can I do?
Yeah.
Um, that was that match anyway. The post-match comments are very interesting because Waka simply said, "I have made a decision today." And well, we know what that decision is now. She's putting her career on the line against Nanai and KAIRI, which is not a good decision. The match
Terrible
after that
decision.
then was Momo Watanabe, Fukigen Death, Hiroka, Saki Kashima, and Natsuko Tora of Oedo Tai beating Momokogo, Koguma, Hana, and Saida and Mayu Otani of Stars. Listen, aside from the very beginning where Koguma called Natsuko Tora a pig, this was just your
Yeah.
standard Stars of Oedo Tai match. I've seen this so often now. It is just dead to me. Like
I think it was more fun than the
I don't know.
standard. Because the standard's pretty
Not
rough
really. Like they
nowadays.
do the same general stuff. Like I've seen everything these teams can do. Like they've done it so much. Like even since we've started this podcast, these two teams, factions, have feuded since maybe halfway through our lifespan. Like
No, it was earlier.
even earlier, yeah. So like
It was like 8
I've
months in.
seen it all done with these two. It's just impossible to get me into it. Like the wrestling is good. I'm not gonna deny that, but like when you've seen it so often, it's just really hard to get into it.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot to it. I was just like, "Oh, this was
Mm,
fun." That's the only note I took was that it
that's
was
fair.
fun enough for me to not
Yeah,
dislike it.
that's all they need
Uh,
to be fair.
yeah,
Then
I missed Momo Watanabe.
she was in this match. She did good stuff.
Yeah,
She kicked Mayu.
yeah, and that's it. It
Yeah.
was that was the
All
fun
right.
part,
Okay.
and that was
Okay.
it. I miss getting
Right.
more from her.
Fair enough. The next match then on the show was a Triangle Derby semi-final. Shuri, Mariah, Namisori of God's Eye beat Saki, Natsupoi, and Tam Nakano in 11.5 minutes when Shuri submit Natsupoi with the White Tiger. Um, my takeaway from this match is that this was a nice reminder that Shuri is one of the best wrestlers in Stardom because this was like a good
Yeah,
tag match, and then Shuri and Tam were in there, and it got great. And then Siri and Natsupoi were doing the finishing stretch, and you're like, this is badass. So it was just like this was a good match, and then Siri gets in and it just levels up, right? Like she's just that good. She's so great.
yeah,
So
totally.
Siri really
I will
stole
say,
my attention here.
Saki must have something over Rossi, because for every single match that Cosmic Angels has lost, it's been Poi just getting fucking pounced, like just
Yeah.
destroyed in the end. And I was like, damn, Saki couldn't take a single fall. That's wild. but it's okay. You
I
know, it's Shuri. Shuri Poi is like
Yeah,
a
that's
thing.
true. I really don't understand the Natsupoi stuff. Like, they did the big turn. She launches the music career
Uh,
with Tam. They win the belts. They immediately lose the belts, and Natsupoi starts losing all the time. What? What? Like, what are you doing? Uh,
and now she's about to lose to
yeah,
Kyrie too.
I don't understand. Like, Natsupoi was primed for big stuff, and then you just went, nah. It's
Bump
That's so
that.
crazy. But I mean,
It is
Suri
crazy.
can,
Like she's not making it out of like I can't see like we didn't even talk about the Cinderella, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. I can't even see her like making waves in that.
I don't know. I can,
Like maybe she beats
yes,
Mina,
I would have
but
her.
that's right before Mina's
Well,
chance, like right before her
you can do
match.
creative ways with Cinderella, but I do have a
Yeah.
theory for what will happen there, which we can get to.
Okay.
But yeah, Suri, great wrestler. If you didn't know, just a heads up. Um, the next match on the show then was another Triangle Derby semifinal. It was Hiragi Kurumi, Suzu Suzuki, and Risa Sera beating Yuna Mizumori, Yu, and Nanai Takahashi. Suzu pinned Unimon with the Grand Maestro de Tequila. Um, these two teams carried the Triangle Derby.
Wait, isn't that
Oh, oh yeah.
never mind.
So these two teams
Nothing.
carried the Derby, and no surprise, had one of the
Yes.
best matches of the tournament here. Um, Great
Yes.
match.
I
Yeah.
wrote about this because I really liked it so much. Yeah, so in the at the presser, Unimon was like, "Oh, me and Suzu are like the same. We're at the same wrestling age, and she's done so much more than me, and I want to beat her because of that." So like Unimon and Suzu doing the back and forth near the end felt very
Mhm.
visceral. You know what I mean? It felt like Yuno was like really like fighting for her fucking life. Also, Babyface 7 Up is really good. Like they are really good at both, and that's kind of
Mhm.
crazy. Um, and they just kind of switch on a dime because like there's great. Obviously Prominence is great as well. They're insane. But yeah, I really love this match. I thought that everybody did their stuff pretty well. Risa Sayers really blended into the background on in this tournament, which I imagine is why you like it so much. For prominence, but she's only there when she's needed, and I think to some degree that's kind of nice because it puts a shine on Hiragi especially, and Suzu is Suzu, who is always going to steal the spotlight because she's Suzu. She can't
Yeah.
help it. So yeah, that was a really good match overall, and I
This is a
enjoyed it a
big
lot.
show for Suzu. But let's not be mistaken here. Kurumi Hiragi gained a lot from this tournament because
She was the MVP of the
yeah,
entire
because I
tournament.
mean, Kurumi has had her issues with injury, and obviously had to work off all that rust, but like she's completely knocked it off throughout this tournament, and like I would say she's the second best in prominence, like easily, and probably on her day could match Suzu, but yeah, that might be a bit taking it a bit too far. um, but yeah, that was a
Could match a average Suzu,
mm,
but I don't
I don't know.
think it's really
High
hard
end
for her to.
Kurumi is good stuff. I don't know. Um,
Oh, 100%. No, I don't
After
disagree.
that, then Suzu called out God's Eye and was like, I mean, we knew we'd win, so hey, let's just put the artist belts on the line tonight as well in the final of this tournament," which completely changed the complexion of the tournament. We thought, oh, whoever wins the derby will challenge Prominence. Prominence said, no, we're putting the belts on the line in the final. So, kind of changed how we thought things would
But you know,
go.
I tweeted this, but I was thinking like if they wanted to do some type of Triangle Derby next year, which they will because this is the Triangle Derby number one. If they want to do some type next year, I would do a single elimination and have the champions defend their belts each time because I think that's interesting. Uh, what was it? PWG used to do that for the D4,
Oh, yeah.
DDT4, I think. Uh, and CZW did that for Best of the Best a bit. So I used to love like that's just an indie trope that I used to really enjoy. It kind of put over the champions, or it just if you really want to put the belt on somebody else for no reason at this exact moment in time, you can. Uh, and I always kind of like that, even though it is a bit convoluted. but this was
That's
convoluted,
true.
so they aren't scared of
Yeah,
that.
that's true. But yeah, that made the final an Artist of Stardom title match, and yeah, kind of changed how we thought things would go. Um,
Mm,
the next match on the show then was Chihiro Hashimoto beating Himeka in just under 9 minutes with an ankle lock, and this is where the show completely went from this is good to this is generational shit, right?
yeah, yeah,
Uh, so I know a lot of people have been disappointed because this only went 9 minutes, but I love that. Like they had a clear plan for what they wanted to do with this match, and they worked at it. So not only were they throwing haymakers and doing the hot shit, they really got over the fact that Chihiro Hashimoto can go toe to toe with the best powerhouses in Stardom in terms of the Hoss stuff. She will tear them limb from limb with her mat work, right? Like Hashimoto was not only getting the better of Himeka in the powerhouse stuff, but then she would take her to the ground and start ripping at her knee. Like I feel like this match, not only was it well done, but they also made sure that they made Hashimoto look fantastic, which is always appreciated, right? Like I love when matches have a real goal like that to just have one wrestler look great because that's servicing the big match down the line, which is obviously Sareee versus Hashimoto.
yeah. I agree, but could have given Jamaica one comeback. She didn't get any. Like I thought about it when like after the match finished, I was like, Jamaica didn't hit any moves. Uh, she like hit a few forearms and then got eaten alive. Like that was the match. And like I agree that it's like that's kind of dope, but at the same time I was like, couldn't have, you know, could have thrown a power bomb. You know, one power bomb from Jamaica would have been nice. I think that was it more than anything. Like even if Hashimo like cut off the comeback pretty quickly, I would have given this match like an extra minute and 30 seconds for a little bit of Jamaica hope. You know what I mean? That's just me personally, and that's me being a Jamaica mark as well. Is that I just kind of want to see her get a little bit more of her shit in. But I agree with you that it's like this did the job of making Hashimo look like a fucking cerebral
Yeah, I
monster.
mean between this and the Mirai match, she looks like an absolute killer. Like when her and Shuri stared down after this match, it was like this really feels like two just unstoppable forces, right? I mean, Siri, she's the modern day EO. She runs this company. She is quite clearly presented as the best wrestler in Stardom, and she's wrestling this absolute monster who has just picked apart Mirai and Himeka. Like the stare down between those two was so I'm so into it. I cannot wait for that match. And I loved what they did here. I thought they did a great job with the time they were given. Himeka got to have presumably one of her last big Hoss exchanges. Like I can't really see her hossing it up with Natsupoi this weekend.
I mean,
She
she has
does.
Micah.
That'll be the final one. But I don't know if they give her one before then either. Um, but yeah, this is great. Oh
Waka.
well, maybe. Um, yeah, this is pretty great. Himeka, fair play to her though for just completely like putting over Hashimoto the way she did. She took her lumps in this one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. And she just got her leg
Yeah, I
destroyed.
feel like
I
that is
was like,
also a
"Oh,
bit of an
this
out
rough."
because obviously she is retiring because physically her body is kind of, shot a little bit, and so obviously if she's getting her knee torn apart, she's gonna tap out, right? Like I feel like they gave her that kind
Yeah,
of, oh yeah, like you tried your best, but your knee kind of gave up on you at the last minute, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I thought that like,
Yeah.
it made sense, but I was just like,
No,
"Man,
that's fair. But
go a
yeah,
little
I
more."
thought this was great. I feel like there's a lot of people who are just like, yeah, I would have liked it to be a bit longer and do more Hoss stuff, which I get. But I really like that they had a clear directive. Like I'm all for that kind of stuff where matches have a story to them. I know this is crazy, but
Yeah.
it's really fun sometimes.
You know wrestling is an art, right?
Okay, yeah. Now, if the last match wasn't enough action for you, Stardom said, "We got you, fam." The Wonder of Stardom Championship. Saya Kamatani defends against Hazuki with a Star Crusher in 23 minutes. Holy shit. Kill it.
I'm gonna be real. If Hazuki had won this might be like
I
top
I've
3
seen
matches ever.
so many people say if Hazuki had won, this would be a 5-star match. This would be match of the year. Like I've
Oh,
seen
easily.
number of people
Easily.
say that. It's crazy. But like that was the energy that was in this match. Like Hazuki just gets you into it. Like these two were booting each other in the face. Hazuki almost damn near killed her with a brainbuster. Like I could see why people got swept up in the moment.
Mercedes Monet gulped,
Yes.
brother.
She was like, "Do I have to wrestle her?
Damn.
Are we sure?"
Damn, this the bitch that called
Yeah.
me out too? I'll stick with the kid.
That's so great. Yeah. But yeah, this. Oh my God, what a great match! Like this was everything that Saya had been doing really well, and then you put in Hazuki,
Yeah.
who is also really good at that shit.
And an over as a motherfucker
Yes.
Hazuki
Yeah.
too.
Crowd was into
Dude,
it.
the crowd was eating her up.
And
Oh my
even
god.
like,
This was such a good
because
fucking
this was a
match.
real return to form for Saya as well. I feel like all of the stuff that had been kind of going amiss was really on point here. And you know this was a good match for her because she hit that schoolboy power bomb really well, and that's how you know she's having a good match. Um, yeah, I thought she was a great contributor here. This was kind of below their GP match from last year because that was obviously shorter and they just commit murder. But this was right up there. Like this was so exciting. There was so much passion behind all the moves. The crowd was so into Hazuki. The finishing stretch was really well done as well. Because I don't think they overdid the kickouts. Like sometimes they do, but this time I feel like people were really high on them.
I felt like there was a
Yeah, like
meaning
people
to
were
it,
really biting on them
you know.
right until the last, you know? So I
Because you can argue that Hazuki kicked out a bit too much, but I think that was like really the point
yeah.
was that it's like she doesn't fucking like and as somebody who's a lore guy when it comes to this specific instance with Hazuki and the white belt, like she doesn't go
Mm,
down easy, especially when it comes to, the white belt. Just because that's kind of been her entire career arc. So I think it worked that she kicked out of the Star Crusher and then the Firebird and then another Star Crusher and then, and this and that and this and that. And I think that really worked because it's like she isn't just like this isn't just another challenger. She's about to make this the hardest fucking match you've ever had. And I think that was kind of what was needed for Saya at
oh,
this
big
point in her
time.
reign was something to really, you know, kick her in
Definitely.
the ass. And yeah, I mean, dude, Hazuki's always been my girl. She just fucking
Oh,
killed it here.
yeah.
I was so happy. I mean, so did Sai. She busted Hazuki's nose open at one point, uh, a little bit. It didn't like start like gushing or anything, but like it was like noticeably. I thought she broke her nose, but everything turned out to be fine. Uh, yeah, they just went at
Yeah,
it, man.
the
They
moment
just
they
went at it.
started trading big boots, it was like, "Oh, this is it. This is the one." Right? Like you just knew from that moment on.
Mhm.
But yeah, this was such a great match. One thing that I thought was interesting was the Firebird splash not getting the win, and Saya having to hit
Yeah.
three um, Star Crushers. So between that and Mina's
Yes.
post-match comment, I assume she's gonna try the Phoenix Splash against Mina, because now her new finisher has been
Yes.
kicked out of, and she's gonna go, oh shit, I'm gonna need a better one. So I think this is the end of the Firebird Splash as her finish, and
Which is
yes,
interesting. And I think this is like a really smart booking thing, right? Where it's like, how do you get Saya to go back to
mm,
the Phoenix Splash? Well, her substitute finisher has to not work as well anymore. How do you make that feel like a thing? Well, somebody has to kick out of it. So you get Hazuki, who is like built as like this fucking pillar of just like she withstands fucking everything. She is a hard ass. She'll beat the fuck out of you. She gets the fuck beaten out of her, you know, and you put her over by having her kick out of the finish. And then right after it's like, well, I guess I gotta go back to Old Faithful. I think that's a perfect and a very simple story to tell, but I think that's a perfect story to tell. Put Suzuki over
mhm,
enough. You know, I obviously would have liked it if she went all the way over and just won the belt, but it puts her over enough to where it's like, oh well, she proved that it takes more to beat someone like her than just the Firebird Splash, and I really like that. I thought
Yeah,
that was
no, they
smart.
definitely went out of their way with the finish to make Hazuki look good. And then between kind of Mina saying, "Hey, like you haven't hit the Phoenix Splash. Like, why don't you do it properly? When you face me, I'm still gonna beat you though." Um, and
Man, if Mina kicks out of the Phoenix, I think that's overkill.
she
I'm gonna be
probably
real.
won't. She probably won't. But but
Like
that
she can
that
go
does
for it, but and then
that does
win.
take us to the interesting bit, which was Mina or Saya nominated Mina as her challenger for Yokohama Arena, which officially at this
Yep,
stage blew the Cinderella tournament wide open because Mina
100%.
had been the lock, right? It was Mina wins, challenges Saya, easy, right? Very easy. But now that match is already set. We're, a month and a few weeks away from the show, and they went very ballsy by saying we're going to set up both of our top title matches. So, yeah, Cinderella is now completely up in the air because,
I'm at the point where I think Micah might
yes,
win.
same.
That's how
Yeah,
that's how up in the air this shit is.
Micah's probably my leading candidate right now. But yeah, so just this promo, I was like, oh great, okay, yeah. So who the fuck's winning Cinderella? Because that was my thought. Because I mean, Mina is winning the belt. I feel like at this stage we can all agree on that.
Maybe. I don't know. The
I
with the
don't know.
Phoenix
See,
thing, this is the first time that I was like,
she's
well,
probably
I don't
she's
know
she's playing
because
smart. She's gonna bait Saya, and Saya's gonna go for it, hesitate, and miss. That's probably how it goes. And then Mina can pin her.
and then you think Sai uses it to win the red belt at some point
Probably, yeah.
or win the white belt
Yeah,
back or
she'll
something
obviously
like
hit
that.
it
That would be
again,
interesting.
but yeah, in a big match. But yeah, it's gonna fail her against Mina. I think is how they'll do it.
I could see it.
Um,
I could see it.
so yeah, that was Saya's last presumably defense. 'Cause she's gonna lose it the next time.
I will
And
say one more thing. That's a credit to
of
Hazuki.
course,
Uh, she hit she burned like all of her big
mm,
moves really early, and she did not waver, which is like a big thing for me,
hmm
right? Because when you challenge or when you like when it's a big match, kicking out finishes is just what happens for the person who's losing, especially. Uh, and when you don't have something in your back pocket, you look like an idiot for the last like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Hazuki hit the brain buster like 15 minutes in, and there was still 8 minutes left, and she just like kept going. Like I didn't know what she was going for, but
yeah,
she just kept going, and I thought that was really uh obviously she's a pro, obviously she's a fucking vet, but like that was just really like clear, like a small thing that's like she gets it, she knows what she's doing, she does not, you know, waver to things because like I think that was a big thing for her Meka when she would have big matches is somebody would kick out of one of her big moves and she'd be like, well, I'm still
yeah,
here, what do I do?
yeah. No, that was why I enjoyed.
Even Micah to some
Yeah,
degree
true. Yeah.
does that as well, and I love Micah, but it's just an inexperienced thing,
Yeah,
I
that
think.
was why the Julia Suri match was so cool because at a certain point it was like, what the hell is going to
Mhm.
win this match? And it obviously ended up being a
Yeah.
twisted fucking Northern Lights bomb, which was great. But yeah, this I mean, Saya's reign lost its way for a little bit, but as far as a last defense goes, or at least a presumably last defense, what a way to cap off. w- Is it safe to say this is the best white belt run ever? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, like, who rivals it? Momo? And Momo
yeah,
had some
Momo had some
stinkers in there,
very
let's be
odd
real. Like,
challengers.
there were some good ones. There were some really good ones, but there were
Yeah,
some stinkers.
Momo and the EO long ones were kind of padded by foreign wrestlers, weren't they? And kind of mid card challengers.
Yeah.
Arisa Hoshiki had two defenses against foreign wrestlers as well. So hers is kind of,
Yeah, I think Arisa's is kind of a hard one, though,
yeah,
because like, she did have a lot of bangers. It's definitely the
yeah.
Momo
Well,
Arisa, because like,
Aikawa probably has
I've seen plenty of
a
EO.
good,
Okay,
but
well,
obviously some of
yes.
those are hard to watch and some of them are clipped. Like it's, you're not seeing the full matches
Yeah.
sometimes with Aikawa.
I've only seen I think I've only seen like one
Right.
iCollar
Yes.
fence because I just don't have that accessibility. You know, this is off topic a little bit, but I will say I was thinking about it because I needed a new login for Stardom World. Uh, and I missed the old Stardom World account, the old Stardom World setup because I don't know if you know this, but you could just input the exact URL and not have to pay for
Oh,
Stardom
really?
World. Yes. I never paid for the old Stardom World because you could just input the URL of the match and just click it.
No way.
Like that's just it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So like legit if I would ask someone like, "Hey, uh can you send me the like or no, I don't know how I did it, but yeah, I would like it was the easiest shit. It was crazy. They had very poor cybersecurity.
Yeah, the old Stardom World was such a trip. I feel like I've told this story before, but I once opened that website in public, and the old Stardom World would open on a photo shoot of the entire roster in their bikinis, I think, from. So
Oh yeah.
I opened Stardom World in public one time, and I've never closed a tab so fast in my life. I had no idea because I don't think I had like ever been on Stardom World before, and I was like, I might as well check it out, and then yeah, closed it as soon as I could. Like that old website was insane. Um, so yeah, that was that was old Stardom World. Um, but yeah, that was the white belt match. Our next match was a high speed championship match. Azumi defended against Starlight Kid in 17 minutes with the numero uno submission. Um, this was pretty similar to all of their other high speed matches. If the thing with them is if you've seen one, you've pretty much seen what they're gonna do. Like as two people who have
Yeah.
watched Stardom for years, there's not a lot that these two can do that we haven't seen. But while it's great,
I have seen every match that is available between the kid
yeah.
and
And I've seen a
Azumi.
lot of them as well. Like I've been watching for like over 4 years now, maybe five. So like
Mhm.
it's stuff we've seen and it's great, but it's definitely not like I'm not gonna remember this at the end of the year. You know what I mean? Um, but like it was really
Yeah.
well wrestled, obviously. Like they're crazy good at what they do. Their chemistry is off the charts. And I did like the added bit where they were kind of doing their high speed stuff, but they were doing it and targeting the limb that their submission finishers work on. Because I don't think they did that last time.
Yeah. I thought the setup was
Yeah.
really smart for that as well. Uh, because and obviously I liked it because the kid had nothing to do with it. Because what happened was Azumi tried for a foot stomp to the
Hmm.
outside, and kid moved, so she has
Yeah.
fucked up her knee, right? Because that's how that works. So Azumi has a bad knee, and kid Azumi hit a double foot stomp
Mhm.
onto kid's arm. Which usually when they do that, it's very obvious and it looks kind of like wonky. But I don't know what it was. It just looked so natural for like it just looked like Azumi
Yeah.
sniped her arm, like just it was really clean. So kid had a fucked up arm, and they, went off of that. I thought that was great. Though I will say the Starlight Kid has pretty bad limb work overall. I'm just saying. But I thought that didn't take away from the match. I agree. I think that like this is the third year in a row that they've done a singles match for the high speed title. Uh, or maybe the first one was in 2020. I think. Yeah, the first one was in 2020, so not the third year in a row. But that first one for the high speed title was really good. Because it like really like was an elevation of what they had done before. Um, and then the one last year was really good because it was kind of the first time that they got to do it on like a stage where like the world was watching, so to speak, and you know, but I feel like the issue with this one is it didn't break the mold all that much. It did, add something to it, but like the action wasn't a step up from their previous matches, which in some way they have done pretty consistently. At least, they've changed something up and they've made it uh more impactful, more enthralling. Uh this one just didn't really have that to that degree. though I thought it was a
Yeah,
really good
I
match.
mean, look, I feel like we aren't the audience for what these two are doing anymore. Because I mean, I don't enjoy
Yeah.
that style of wrestling all that much anyway. Me, I'm all about violence and CTE. Um, but I can obviously appreciate what they're doing. Like, I thought it was a great match, regardless. Um, but yeah, like it definitely wasn't a huge evolution from either of them. It was really, like, to me, I can see that it was the send off for this kind of era of their careers, right? Because obviously their early career was
Yeah.
defined by chasing the high speed belt. They have now both been high speed champion. This was presumably Kid's last high speed title match for the foreseeable future, presumably one of Azumi's last ones for the foreseeable future, as a send off to the era where they were high speed champion. This was a really nice match to cap that off.
It was a it was a greatest
Pretty
hits
much, yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
100%.
You
Like
know,
the
and you gotta respect that.
yeah, like they there was an like a reasoning to do that kind of match, definitely, because the next time they wrestle, it's obviously going to be very different circumstances, and it's probably going to be very different pacing wise and everything else. So I think as far as
I will also say them going right after Saya Hazuki was
oh yeah,
rough.
definitely, yeah, um,
Like them going before that would have probably made this one seem and feel better,
mm,
but they decided to put this match, like, not decided because obviously it was supposed to happen against Ami and Saya, where it would have obviously
mhm,
outshined that a lot. But they decided, you know what, we'll give you guys the uh semi singles main, I don't know how to call it, over the white belt this time. And then they decided to have one of the best white belt matches I've seen in years. So, you know, not great.
yeah, definitely not. But as a cap off to this part of their careers, it was a nice match, a nice kind of run through of what got them to this stage. Even if they didn't reinvent the wheel all that much, aside from the
Yeah.
added limb targeting, which I did appreciate. I did think that was a cool little addition from the both of them to set up their new kind of
Yeah.
finishers.
I, I like their opening sprint, but I feel like it's gotten a bit repetitive.
Yeah, yeah, no,
You
that
know,
that
it's
part
like
especially is
Azumi.
not. They did not reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, like, because Azumi does great ones with, like, I mean, I always talk about her and Mei Suruga had a great opening, you know, standoff, so to speak, but I don't know. They just don't hit
Yeah, that's
anymore.
fair. That's fair.
Like them specifically, you know, mix
But
it up
it's a very
somehow.
clear, and I hate to use this term, but it's a very clear doing it for the gifts, right? Like that opening
Yes.
exchange is done to get gift and go viral, which is fine. It's whatever. But it definitely wasn't as inventive as Azumi and May, for example. Um, but just to close off this match, afterwards, Kid did kind of bow to the belt. She touched the belt. Her and Azumi made like a pinky thing. Um, again, just saying, hey, this is a closure to this era of Kids kind of run, and she's moving on to other stuff now. And that was a nice kind of thing. Because Kid has always been like that, even as a heel. She's very much like acknowledging her past, I guess. Like when she
She's a very emotional
yeah,
heel.
like when her and Mayu hugged after one of the GP matches, wasn't it? And it was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm still chasing you. Her acknowledging the belt here of like, okay, this was the belt that I chased, but it's time to move on. That was a nice little thing from Kid afterwards. And yeah, just a very nice visual with the two of them to kind of end the match. Um, and that takes us on from that one because they didn't really say much in the post-match promo. Just that Azumi was like, "Hey, I'm gonna beat Saki Kashima." Um, the next match then on the show was a World of Stardom Championship match. Julia and Maya Yukihi wrestled to a double countout in 18 minutes. Um, definitely have seen opinions across the board on this one.
Yeah.
Um, I'm all for this kind of match. Like you probably knew that before I had even watched it. You knew I would love it. Like they were just because the storyline before the match was Maya didn't really care about the belt. She just thought, hey, I got to beat the shit out of Julia, and if I win the belt, I win the belt, right? She didn't care about it. Julia obviously cares about it, but she has the belt, so she's fine. So this was just a case of these two very combustible forces are gonna fight, and boy did they ever fight! Like they just scrapped from minute 1 to minute 18 until like 5 seconds before this match ended. They were killing each other. It was fantastic. It was so well done, right? Um, there was a Japanese article in the lead up to this match that compared this to Hokuto and Kandori, that they were going to try and do Hokuto and Kandori. And look, nothing is ever going to be Hokuto and Kandori in the modern era.
Yeah, it's not really
You
possible,
cannot,
especially
yeah,
without
you
blood.
cannot have blood.
I think that was
You cannot punch people in the face anymore. Like, I think Hokuto and Midori is the best. The second one is the best match ever. Nothing will ever touch it. So obviously, I didn't think this was as good as Hokuto and Kandori, but they did a damn good job of trying to imitate it, right? And if you're gonna imitate anything, you might as well imitate one of the best two match series of all time. So
yeah.
I really felt like the hatred and the vitriol and everything else was there, and they just carried it through, and it was the central point of the match. At no point did they ever forget that. Like they didn't just forget they hate each other, which so often happens in Stardom. They were just fighting. They didn't go for pins. One of them would roll out, and the other one would follow her and try and kill her. Right? Like they were doing crazy spots with tables and everything else. It was just so well done, and they had such a focus of, okay, we're gonna fight because we don't like each other, and if I happen to win, I happen to win, and that was it. And neither of them won, and that's fine. Um, but yeah, that was how I thought of it. It was a great match. I loved it from minute 1 to minute 18. It's made its way on my iconic spreadsheet that nobody will ever see, but it's mine because I like to go back and watch some of these cool matches every now and then. And yeah, this is on it. So that's how much I enjoyed this.
I enjoyed it slightly less than him, but I thought it was really good. Um, yeah, I think what I was like, I think this was just missing blood. I think that's the only thing,
Yeah.
really. Like I think, and that's a me thing. I'm a big blood guy. There's a reason John Moxley has been my number one male wrestler every year since he went to AEW. I'm a big blood guy, and at the beginning, Julia clubbed Maya with the belt, and Maya rolled to the floor and like like got in a shelter position, right?
Hmm.
Where she like kind of tucks her head, has her knees up, and I was like, "Holy shit, is she about to blade?" I like got so excited because I was like, "This is about to be like the match, right?" And then she didn't, and I was a little disappointed, but I got back into it. But in like looking at it as a finished product, I definitely think any blood at all would have like made this a all-timer type of
Mm.
match. And I think without it, it felt like the pacing was obviously out the window. They didn't need it. The structure didn't exist. The flow was all over the place, and that was the point, and it was great. But I think if I don't know, I think the visual of something added like that would have made it, on that level. But it just, you know, they can't do that because Stardom are pussies. So it's unfortunate. But I thought the table spots were great. Shoot headbutts were great. Everything they did was
Mm.
great. It was a really really fun good match. But it definitely for that what they were trying to do with the double count out with it being like a true like you know gruely match, grimy.
Hmm.
I was just like you just need something to put it over the top like that.
See, to me, that exclamation point was the Northern Lights bomb to the floor. Is that is so heinous.
Mm,
Like just that visual alone was like, okay, that's like how do you do that to somebody? Like I think that was the thing.
that was
Like
gross.
Blood
Yeah,
would have been cool, but they made up for it with not only the table spots but the gnarly Northern Lights bomb to the floor. Like I feel like that was enough to me. But yeah, I mean Blood would have been cool, definitely.
you know what? I think the reason why that hit less is because I think I was looking away when she hit it,
Really? Oh.
and then I went back and saw
Oh, you have to see
it.
it. Like the execution is great. Oh,
No,
you
I
did see it
saw it. I
actually. All
saw
right.
it. That I've seen it.
Right.
Like I went back and I you know
Of course.
I
Yeah.
watched through it a little bit, but No, like the first time I watched it, I don't think it registered just how fucked it
Yes.
was. Because since I've seen it afterwards, I was like, That's fucking gross, bro."
Yeah, no, big time. And yeah, I mean, what a way to finish the match. Like, there's no better way to finish a
It was
match
crazy.
than a Northern Lights bomb to the floor. So, yeah, I love that ending and I love that match. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people are unhappy about the match ending in a double count out, but I don't really mind. Like, I feel like the result never mattered to either of the wrestlers, so like I don't mind it. Had Mayuki
They just didn't want the other
Yeah,
person to
like had
win.
Mayuki been like, "Oh, I really want the red belt. I really need to win." Like, okay, yeah, I can see it. But the entire time she said, "I don't give a shit about your belt. Like, I hate you and I hate Rossi and I want to beat you up. And if I steal your belt, I steal your belt." Like, at no point was winning the objective for her. And it wasn't really the objective for Julia either, because she just said, "I'm gonna beat you so bad you don't come back," right? So I feel like the result played into everything the two of them said in the lead up to the match, and the match itself also drove it home, given the amount of times they just went on the outside and brawled, right? Like they clearly did not care about winning this match. So to me, the finish was like a completely great way to cap off the match and kind of fit with what they were doing. But I definitely feel like the finish almost makes it so that you have to redo this, but like, how do you redo this? You know what I mean? Like, because as I said last week when we
Yeah, I
previewed
have
the
no
match, Maya Yuki does not lose a lot to other women. That is, I know she lost Chris Brooks.
idea.
She did lose to Chris Brooks, but the I feel like you kind of have to let dudes win in Japan. Like I feel like that's still a bit of a thing. Um, so when it comes to other women, she doesn't lose a lot. Um, so if you redid this, you'd still have that nightmare of okay, who loses, right? Because presumably, if they were to do it towards
It would have to be my
yeah,
Yukihi.
and if you're doing it, you would do it at a Stardom Dream Queendom, right, or something like that. But if you're doing it at Stardom Dream Queendom, presumably Julia is still the champion. So how do you get Yukihi to challenge her unless she wins the GP? But an
Which is a
outsider isn't
lot.
winning the GP, right? Like that's just not the
Especially
case.
not a my Yukihi
Yeah.
outsider.
And I don't see Julia dropping the belt before that show. So, like, I don't know how you'd go back to it while it's
I mean,
still fresh.
I don't think she's dropping the belt at
Yeah,
all.
well, that's true. But you know what I mean. Like, I don't know how you do this while it's still fresh without Yukihi losing. And I don't know if she's up for that. Um, so, yeah, I feel like they are leaving money on the table if they don't run this back. But I'm also not sure they can navigate running this back because politics exists, right? Like there's a reason some matches don't happen, and this is probably one of them.
This might
Yeah,
be one of them.
because I mean, it happened in AJW sometimes where there was a lot of 50-50 stuff back then with the other companies, or they just didn't do matches. Like Hokuto never wrestled Kanzai, probably because both companies were like, "Fuck no, she is not losing." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, or somebody would go 50-50.
So they gave her Hoda. That's so fucked.
Yeah.
I feel like that was always the case. It's like, oh no, Hokuto ain't losing. You want somebody to lose? Here's Hoda.
Yes. Oh, and
Same
yeah, and
difference.
LPW was the same. Like, oh, here's Eagle Sawai. You want to beat her up?
You can
Yeah,
kill her. I don't
yeah.
care.
JDP was like, listen, Devil is off limits, and Dynamite Kansai is off limits. You can beat whoever the hell you want. Otherwise, or they'd all just do 50-50, right? Like that's kind of how it
And they
was.
got beat so bad that Ozaki started Oz Academy, and now here
Oh
we
yeah.
are.
But yeah, the I don't know. Like I love this match. I'd love to see them do it again, but I don't know how they get to that unless Yukihi signs, really. Because if she signs, obviously you
Yeah.
have a lot more
But
flexibility.
she's not
But
signing.
yeah, she's not signing. Um,
She's too old.
yeah.
She already said so.
So I don't know. I can see why people might be upset if they don't go back to this, but I feel like I've just accepted that it's going to be
Yeah.
very
I
difficult
think
to redo.
yeah, I think I will say, last week I said this is gonna be a disappointing match and then fucking Tam's gonna walk out. And I'll say, not disappointed with the match, slightly disappointed on the finish, but that's okay. and then fucking Tam Nakano walks out. Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, she. Oh man, that was so fucked.
Yeah.
Not fucked, but just like I hate being right sometimes.
Yeah. The Tam visual was very funny.
Yeah, because like they're like arguing across the ring, like from other sides of outside of the ring, and they're like just like on the mic, just yelling at each other. And Maya walks out, "Arrivederci," and she like fucking makes fun of her. And then Tam's like, "Hi,"
Mhm.
like she's like walks out like with a strut. I'm just like, "Why are you here?
Yeah.
Nobody invited you, okay? Leave."
Um,
And then she didn't.
so the interesting thing with Tam is that she said straight up, I want that red belt. I'll bet anything to get that match. Now, Julia did respond with, if it's us, wouldn't it just be enough for the belt? But I don't know. Like, I feel like you don't bring up Tam betting something unless you add that in as a stipulation. And I feel like Yokohama Arena is such a big venue that it almost needs a big stipulation like that. So,
The messed up thing about this is in the story of Lore and Tam Road, Tam should win this
yes,
match, but she shouldn't in the world
everything
of
else.
professional
Yeah.
wrestling. Yeah, like and that's the issue because like they've done this match so often, and they've had both women get their
Hmm.
payoffs, right? Like, you know, Tam finally got that back on Julia in the highest stakes match, white belt on the line. Julia loses her hair. Tam, even though she lost a bunch to Julia before that, finally got that win. And then Julia lost her hair. She went on this whole revival, whole redemption. She got injured, and she had to grind her way back to the top. Beats Tam, wins the 5-star, wins the championship. They both got there. Like that's rare in a
Yeah.
feud, in a wrestling feud, especially for it to work so well. I thought the matches were pretty bland personally, but it worked. Like the story, being able to hit those two markers is so
Hmm.
insane. Like that's not how it usually works. They aren't hitting a third. Like it
No.
I don't believe
No.
it. I mean, like they can't. There's nothing else to
The
hit.
only
And if it is a Tam retirement match, I think that's a terrible idea. Because then Julia, like with the Waka thing, except to probably a way higher degree, Julia beating Tam and Tam retiring is terrible for Julia.
yes, because Tam is very popular.
I mean, it's like if I don't know. It's like if Kota Ibushi was still in New Japan and he beat Naito and Naito had to
Hmm.
retire because of it.
Oh yeah.
People loved Ibushi. Like, don't get me wrong, Ibushi was popular. That's why I'm not saying Okada because Okada's kind of back and forth. I mean, obviously people really like him, especially in Japan. But like people loved Ibushi, just like they love Julia. But Tam, Naito getting outed from the company because
Mm.
of them is gonna make people upset with Julia Ibushi. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Which, like, I don't know if they'll do the career stipulation. I like
I
they
hope not.
might do Tam can't challenge for the red belt again, and then that leads her to retire or whatever eventually. Like that might be how they go, but I don't know. Like the
I could see it.
stipulation thing, I know Julia kind of disregarded it, but I don't know why you'd mention it at all if you're not going to go back to it. And especially for a show,
I would love if the stipulation was just a death
of
match
course,
personally, but
like you can't do hair versus hair again. You can't really do hair versus title. That just isn't fair. Um, so you kind of have to put something beyond that on the line. Um, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. I do feel like the only way you can do this match again is as the conclusion. Because you've already had, as you said, both of them get their big win. The only thing left is to close the book on it. So,
yeah,
like at that point, you kind of have to have some sort of finality to it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see how it unfolds. Because if it is just a normal match, I feel like that might be slightly letting us down. Um, but I don't know. I don't have confidence it'll be a normal match. I feel like given the venue, And given what was said in the promo, there'll have to be a stipulation of some sort attached to it. Because where was the Yamada Toyota hair versus hair match? Was that also Yokohama Arena?
Let me check.
Because that would make a lot of sense.
Versus. Let me see.
Really difficult
Here it
because it
is.
was also an IWA title match.
No, it was in Cork.
Wait, really?
I thought so. I thought it was in Corkin, but yeah, it's in Corkin.
Oh, that's crazy that they did a Corkin. All right, well then that's me completely off. But yeah, I don't know. I feel
Wait, what the wait, this is off topic. Toshiya Yamada wrestled in the semi-main event of that show
really.
too, against Aja Kong and Bull Nakano. That has to be wrong.
Mm,
There's no way that she got her ass beat by Aja Kong and Bull Nakano and then had a hair versus hair
I
match.
don't know. AJW is a bit weird sometimes. She might have been filling in for
Yeah, I
somebody.
mean, yeah, it just happened. That's crazy.
Hmm. I don't know, man. AJW is a weird place.
Poor
Yeah.
Yamada.
But yeah, that's the Tam Yukihi thing, or not Tam Yukihi, Julia Yukihi, and the Tam promo. Maya's promo in the post-match comments left a lot of questions. She was like, "Oh yeah, I might just get banished now," and was like laughing about it. Um, but she was like, "Hey, I would like to wrestle in Stardom again," and she said, "Until we meet again, arrivederci, Julia." So she like there's nothing to read into there. Like she said she might get banished. She said she'll see Julia again. like
Didn't Julia say Matana,
it,
which means
they
see
both
you
did kind of
again?
say I'll see you again, but like her post show thing
Okay,
was like, yeah, they might like banish me.
I think that's just a
Yeah, I have
bit.
no
I'm gonna
idea.
be real.
So Yuki didn't really say much of that was definitive in her post match thing, but I think her and Julia being like, hey, I'll see you again down the road was very nice. Um, Yeah, Julia did reiterate though, it's if this is the red belt, we don't need to talk about hair, money, or anything like that. So yeah, she seems to be very much downplaying the stipulation aspect at the moment, but I don't know. I don't know why you'd bring it up if you weren't gonna do something with it. That's just me. Um, Now,
Give me a death
the
match.
main event of the show was a Triangle Derby final. It was Kurumi Hiragi, Suzu Suzuki, and Risa Sera beating Ami Sourei, Mirai, and Shuri to win the first Triangle Derby and retain the Artist of Stardom Championship. Suzu pinned Mirai with a German suplex in just under 15 minutes to get the win. Whoever decided that this match was going to be 8 minutes of Suzu versus Mirai deserves a raise because they
Dude,
went crazy again. And before they went crazy, you had like Ami Sourei tossing it up with Kurumi and Risa Sera, and like, oh, it was such a great match, man. Like, what a great final.
man, I I tweeted this, but something, and we have seen that this show had so much just destructive, gross
Yeah,
wrestling, right? And I'm a deathmatch guy. Something about watching Mirai and Suzu wrestle just made me feel and reminded me how much wrestling must fucking hurt a motherfucker. Like, I don't know what it was. It was one of the lariats that just fucking like I'm saying the F word a lot. I'm sorry. But like it just it I don't know. Mirai just throwing a lariat at Suzu just made me remember that it's like, oh, that she shouldn't have survived that if she was a normal human being. Like that shit's gross. And it's just the most like basic wrestling. But something about Mirai doing it, something about Suzu doing it, it just it just feels bad. And I love it.
yeah, there is something different with when it's Suzu and Mirai, right? Like, this bring a realness to it that not a lot of
Yeah.
people can match. I think that's why they're one of the best pairings in the company, because even when they're just doing normal wrestling, it really brings you in, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I agree with
Totally.
that, and I feel like having them like dominate the last 8 minutes of this match was a fantastic choice.
Yeah. I also like the start where Prominence like immediately. So Risa Sarah got into the match. She started the match for what might be the first time the entire tournament, and it's just like, you know what? Give me a second. She goes, she grabs a chair and she starts swinging. I was like, damn, this is crazy.
That was brilliant.
I was like, damn, that's how we starting, and I love this. And then Shuri and Risa, phenomenal. They always work pretty well together. Um, yeah, I thought this was just a really, really good match, and it really put Suzu and Prominence over big time.
Mm.
Uh, Similar to the match earlier, similar to the entire tournament. Like that's it's wild that the first 3 months of Stardom has been dedicated to putting Prominence over.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Them and Maya.
Like Suzu, even though yeah, I mean, even though Suzu lost the title match, like she's been in the two like the two big shows. She's been in the main event. She's won one of them. Like she has more main events than Julia does. You know, like that's
Yeah.
insane.
And the thing is, like, Suzu won both matches on this show. Like, a further,
Yeah,
like, Suzuki closed a pay-per-view for Stardom, like, with a belt in her hand and a championship banner. Like, that is huge, right? So like, they're still all in on Suzu. I still believe that if she signed, they would put the red belt on her within 12 months. Like, I have no doubts about it. And yeah, they've done a really good job of making Prominence like the big trio in Stardom.
yeah,
And like, they've completely gone counter to what I expected. Like, I really thought that the Yokohama Arena show would be the the outsiders losing the belts back to the tournament winners, right? And like 7 Up would drop to somebody in the tag division or whatever. But instead, it's just like, no, like, the Prominence are just that good, and we don't know when they're gonna have challengers. I know Queen's Quest did set themselves up as their next challengers, but
the
presumably
next challenges, yeah,
that'll be on one of the pay-per-views, kind of scattered throughout next month. Like, I know they have like 4 rounds of the Cinderella, so it might be on one
yeah.
of those. Um, but yeah, like, I just
Maybe a Korkin.
maybe I think it's probably the Cinderella final.
I don't know. I
The
think the
Cinderella
Korkin's
final is
probably
probably the one.
set.
Um, but yeah, like, Prominence are just the trio, and that's kind of how they've gone with it. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, that was that show, and honestly, like, the last, I say 5 matches, but you could include the semifinals in that. Were just so good, right? And they're all so good, and they're so good
yeah,
in their own ways, right? Like, Maya and Julia was very different to Azumi and Kid, which was different enough to Hazuki and Saya, which was quite different to Mirai and Hashimoto. Or not Mirai, I keep doing that. Himeka and Hashimoto.
yeah.
And obviously the trios matches were different to all of those. Like, you had so much variety here, and everything hit. Like, it is absurd at how well some of these Stardom shows can deliver. And this was one of the biggest ones. Like, this is going to be one of their best shows of the year when all is said and done.
Yeah, 100%.
Kind of depending on how Yokohama Arena goes, but maybe the GP final. Like, the GP final is usually one of the most, like, absurd cards every year. Like, I feel like every year we're like, how the fuck did they do that? And then they outdo it the next year.
Yeah.
Um,
They love those
yeah,
tournament finals being
very
cool.
much so. So yeah, but that pay per view did so much. Like, that pay per view blew open the next 2 months worth of Stardom, because Cinderella is unpredictable now. I have no idea what half of the people are doing for Yokohama Arena. Like, they just said strap in and come along for the journey, and I'm here for it. Um, Now, there's
Are we here for it
no,
though?
there's 5 shows happening in the next 8 days. I say we preview the Korkan, and that's it, because I don't know if you can hear my throat. My throat is already sore. We've been going for almost 2 hours. If we preview all 5 shows, we'll be here for another 20 minutes. Let's just do the Korkan.
Man, I think we have to preview all. I think we have
We
to
don't
preview
we
all of the
don't have to
shows. They all
preview
have
all of them. We
something
don't.
on
We
them.
really don't.
Just okay. I
Okay.
don't
All
care.
right.
I don't really care that
So
much.
the car.
I'm just looking at this. What is this? The
Well,
15th, and I was like,
you
damn,
can
this show.
talk through the cool
Is
matches.
Hazuki
You can talk through
Mayu?
the cool matches from the next 4 shows if you would like. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Just yeah. You do not
Yeah.
have to talk.
I'll
Just
go and do
just
something else. All right.
yeah.
So the Corkin Hall show is on Friday, so very soon. Um, the opener, I mean, I think this card is great. Actually, like this is one of the better Stardom
Yeah.
cards I've seen in a bit. So the opener is the Future of Stardom #1 contenders match. It's Miyu Amasaki versus Rina versus Hina, which just happened on the pay-per-view. Um, we thought Rina would win, but obviously she won at the pay-per-view, so maybe not. So I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, no clue.
like who knows?
I feel like maybe they just feed Hina to her for
Yeah,
right now,
possibly.
because I imagine they just want to pad Ami's
Oh yeah, true.
Ami shit right now. So probably
Okay,
Hina.
all right. The next match then is a three-way tag. It's Koguma and Momokogo versus Saki Kashima and Fukigen Death versus Maika Ozaki and Chairman Ram. So it's kind of interesting that Rebel Enemy are still getting booked after the derby is over.
Yeah.
That's something to keep an eye on. I feel like Death might just roll somebody up here because this is prime Fukigen Death material.
Yeah, probably in a Wado tie
Yeah,
win here. Either Saki gets the revival or Death
definitely.
gets the death.
Um, The match after that then is Shuri and Mirai versus Black Desire of Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid. What a match.
The kid might actually show up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen here, but I'm into it. Maybe it's a draw. Maybe they do the draw finish here. Or Shuri just gets the win because they're gonna keep building her up.
No, I feel like this has to be a
Yeah,
draw.
probably. We haven't had enough draws lately, you know. Gotta get them back in the system.
Mirai Shuri hasn't even like vaguely done a tag thing. Shuri hasn't done any tag stuff with God's Eye outside of
Yeah,
the
because it was
tournament
her
with
and Inaba.
Inaba. By the way, where the fuck is Inaba? I miss her. I know she's gonna be in
Oh
Cinderella,
yeah,
but please get
who
her back.
knows?
Get her back on some of these shows.
Busy beating the shit out of her sister in JTO.
Yeah.
The match after that then is an 8-woman tag. It's Julia or not? Yeah, Julia, Maika, Tekla, and Mai Sakurai versus Mai Iwatani, Saida, Hazuki, and Hanan. So that's probably a DDM win. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next match.
Yeah.
This is gonna absolutely eat. This is Utami, Saya, and Azumi versus Tam Nakano, Mina Shirakawa, and Mariah May. So the first time Tam is teaming with the Venus squad. Gonna be interested to see how that goes. Queen's Quest probably wins since they did challenge for the artist belts. But yeah, this is gonna eat it up.
Yeah.
Like the entrances alone. Like Queen's Quest is gonna come out in the full, like with the flag and the robes, and Club Venus is gonna dance, and I'm gonna be like, hell yeah! I'm gonna be on my knees screaming slay. It's gonna be great.
This is no disrespect to Mariah May. I fucking miss Unagi, man. Like I'm looking at this, I'm just like, I never thought I would miss the OG Gozen trio, but we just ain't never
You
gonna
know?
get that again. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Pro Nagi. Um, the match after that then is a Future of Stardom Championship match. It is Amisore defending against Lady C, and well, Amisore is going to win.
Yeah.
Then we have Himeki.
But Lady C did say that she might have make a decision after that
Ooh,
about
interesting.
if she wants to
Okay,
stay in Queen's
interesting.
Quest.
Then we have the Himeka Retirement Road singles match. We have Himeka versus Natsupoi, and Natsupoi is going to win. But we can all only hope that they go full actress girlsism and just forearm the ever living shit out of each other.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
they go full tilt.
And then the main event is a Goddess of Stardom Championship match. It's Nanai Takahashi and Yu of the Neo Stardom Army, also known as 7 Up, against Natsuko Tora and Waka, BMI 2000. I hope they let Tora and Yu go crazy because the last time they got time
Yes.
to just go crazy together, it was fantastic. So I don't expect it because they're doing a weird feud with Nanai and Waka, but I want Tora and Yu to just beat on each other.
Well, I mean, they usually go even with 7 Up. Like they don't
I don't know.
they
I feel like
usually
Yu
don't
tends
leave
to
someone
dominate,
to.
but sometimes, like if Nanai has a storyline, they let her take center stage.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I see. I think some good stuff will happen from this
That's
match. I think
valid.
it'll be fun. Uh, people are way harder on this match than I think that given credit because I think this has the potential to
Oh
be a
yeah,
pretty solid match.
100%. Yeah, like I think it could be great. Um, and that's the Corkin. So if you want to run through the other stuff, be my guest. Go ahead.
Okay. Uh, Young OED versus Club Venus. That'll be fun. Um,
The
let's
enthusiasm is
see.
off the charts.
Anything? Okay. Micah and Hameka for the main event of the um Hachijo or
Hachioji.
Hachiji. Hachioji. Hachioji. I keep getting I forget the IO, right? Hachioji, the main event, is Maihime versus Meltier, specifically. Um, damn, I can't believe this is it. Like I feel like this like because I was predicting this match to happen for the tag belts at Yokohama, right?
Yep.
Like months ago before they dropped the tag belts, and now we're here. That's fucking depressing. I'm gonna be real with y'all.
Yeah.
But it'll be a good match, I'm sure. There's also a big five-person tag with Oedo Tai where Momo is serving in that picture. I don't know if you're seeing it. Uh, but
What show
her
is
new
this?
render. I don't know if it's new even.
What show is this?
Huh? Oh, this is for Hachioji.
Okie dokes. Let me see.
Her new like her
I've
render
got to
is
see if
just
it's
like
Slay. Oh, Momo serving looks.
like she is serving. Like I know it's weird when I say that, but I'm being 100% serious. She's serving. Um yeah, she
Yeah.
looks fly. She looks fly. She looks pretty fly for an Oedo Tai.
Oh God.
Uh
I'm
for
I'm
an Oedo
leaving.
Tai
That's
guy.
it. The show is over.
And all the girlies say I'm pretty fly for an Oedo Tai. Get it, did it. Okay. Um After that, we already talked about a little bit of this. Um So apparently no decision will be made because Lady C will be wrestling against DDM a few days later, um, in a 4-on-4. And then the main event question mark is Hazuki, Mayu, and Koguma against Black Desire and Saki Kashima, which is
Oh.
interesting. Um, they don't usually. I don't know if I'm just like remembering weird, but I feel like they don't usually like do the like those are pretty big trios. So I don't know if that will stay the main event. But if it is, that's an interesting one to keep an eye out for. Uh, and that was on. That's for what is this? That's for the 12th. Yeah. Uh, and then I am now on to the 15th, which uh, Meltier versus Hazuki and Mayu again, kind of wild. That'll be a fun match. Like you said, Meltier's kind of fucked because they don't have
Mhm.
Waka around. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it from that. And then the last one is on the 16th, which will be after next week's show, but we won't be able to talk about it because it's like it's on the day that it's just annoying. Um that has some cool stuff. Uh except for me versus Sakashima, that's not cool. Uh They have I actually like this one a lot. They have Utami, Saya, and Azumi taking on the um, Stars challengers from last year, which is Suzuki, Koguma, and Hanan, which could be really good, I think, if they give it a little bit of shine. But considering where they're at, which is this Osaka EDM? Is somewhere else in Osaka? It's Osaka ATC Hall. So I imagine it's smaller
I
than
have
EDM. I
no
don't know,
idea.
but it might be good, might not be
Mm.
good. Yeah. Uh, Other than that, Konami is back. What?
What? Oh yeah,
Did no
she's
did nobody
working
thought
Golden Week,
did
isn't she? Is it
that's
not?
not Golden Week.
Oh.
That's next week.
Oh. Cool. Hi, Konami. Yeah, that
Hello,
came out of
Konami.
nowhere. I mean, sure.
Yeah, it's Konami with the God's Eye trio against Oedo Tai, which is BMI and Black
Oh,
Desire.
interesting.
Hmm. And then Julie and Himeka in the Retirement Road match. Damn, Konami just emo Konami too. That's the thing. That was a jump scare. Because it's her render is emo Konami, where she looks
Oh,
like a
right.
vampire.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Uh, But yeah, that looks like an interesting show, to say the least. Some of the matches are something. Mariah May is going to pin Saida again because I hate everything that's ever happened in my life. Um, and yeah, those are the highlights of the
All right.
shows for the next
I
8
hope that
days.
was fulfilling for you. I hope you got what you wanted out of that.
Well, it was nice to bring
Yeah.
up some
Well,
stuff.
I didn't even.
Nobody would have known
Yeah, I
Konami would be
literally had
back.
no idea because that's so random. Like,
I
what
didn't either. I don't even like.
Osaka?
I feel like I should text Sprite because that's so random.
She's on another show next week as well. She's on Mayu's Homecoming
Is she?
on the Sunday.
Oh shit.
That's so strange. Yeah,
Well, we'll
because I
talk
know
about
she
that
was
next
announced for
week.
Golden Week,
But yeah,
but I guess she's on here as well. So
Konami has not interacted with like Queen's Quest since
oh
she's been
god,
gone. It's been the
fucking
same matches over and over
QQ,
again.
fucking QQ.
Fucking
That was great. I love that.
QQ. Well, except for wait, no, she
What?
just did, didn't she? Because it was
Oh
Konami
yeah.
and Azumi. Yeah, never mind. I'm an idiot.
Well, that's all the fun. Konami is just showing up for like 2 shows and then disappearing again, which is great.
Dip out
But
again.
yeah, so that's the next week of Stardom. Lots of house shows. We'll be back next week to talk about some of them. Probably the higher end stuff. And yeah, that was this show. Very long show. You don't need me to talk anymore, so I think it's time to close the show.
Yeah, I'm
All
down.
right, if you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Ijo.